question. Oh, we've got an Ashaman in the back, don't we? Mr. Ashaman.
Since you brought it up, a lot of people have been talking about the movie, but I haven't heard a lot about it recently. What's the status?
Status of the movie is that it is currently in the script stage. The option has been exercised, so the full buyout price has been paid by Universal, and the script is being made. They plan to do feature-length films, one for each book. And is that my father hiding back there? That is my father. What are you doing here?
What?
You were in Idaho like a week ago. What's that? Oh, they moved. How far away is Detroit? 5 hours? You drove 5 hours? You were crazy. All right. Well, hey, it's my father. Everyone say hi to my father. I can't remember specifically, but there's a pretty good chance that he paid for that original Eye of the World book that I bought. All right. Other questions? Right here.
First day on the internet, you were already on Newsnet. Which
Yes.
group?
Rec Art Alts, Robert Jordan. And right after that, Rec Art Alts. Am I getting that order right? Rec? I can't even remember.
Rec Art Sci-Fi.
Rec Art Sci-Fi, probably, Robert Jordan. And then Tolkien next. And the Tolkien people were kind of mean to me. So, you know. All right, right behind.
I heard rumors that there's a Wheel of Time MMO.
You've heard rumors that there's a Wheel of Time MMO RPG. Do I know anything about that? I do not. I know that Red Eagle Entertainment, who have the ones that bought the film rights and then sold them to Universal, also have video game rights and are working to make several video game properties. I don't know what the status of any of those are. If you come to JordanCon, Red Eagle was there last year and answering questions. All right, right here.
How has working on the Wheel of Time changed your writing?
That's an excellent question. How has working on the Wheel of Time changed my writing? A couple of ways. One of the main ways is working with Harriet, who is one of the great editors in the business, has forced me to be a lot more precise with my language. You know, in that original scene where I was talking that I read, it had originally just been a rocking chair. And she said, what kind of wood? Because that has a different image. And that sort of thing that she's pushed me on, she has not increased the length of my book, she has made them more precise with using the right words. She is fantastic at that. It has also taught me how to juggle viewpoints in a much better way and plot lines. When I first got published, the book I sold was Elantris, which was my 6th book. I was working on number 13 at the time, which was called The Way of Kings. The Way of Kings was intended as a massive, large fantasy epic on the scale of something like The Wheel of Time or A Game of Thrones. And I finished this book right before I sold Elantris, and Tor actually bought it. They bought Elantris and that book. And then I stopped them and said, I'm not ready for this yet. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm digging myself into something too deep. I haven't even written a sequel. Those 13 books all were first books or standalones. Let me do a trilogy first. And so we backed off on The Way of Kings, and we changed the contract to say Mistborn instead. And I did the Mistborn trilogy because I had never done sequels before. As a side note, you can go look up Way of Kings on Amazon right now, and because I had a contract for it, Amazon got a hold of this, and being the sneaky people they are, they put up a listing for it just in case it came out. And my fans, being the amusing, wonderful people they are, discovered this and started posting fake reviews for a book that doesn't exist. And there are something like 60 reviews of this book that no one has read, including a fan-produced cover which has a picture of Elvis on it. And a fake quote by Harry Goodkind, which says, a hunk of burning good book. So you can go read them waxing poetic about a book of mine they haven't read. Apparently there are killer pandas and all sorts of things in this book that I wasn't aware of. Anyway, after writing The Gathering Storm, it took me about 14 to 16 months, depending on some of the time I spent revising and whatnot to write this book, working about 16-hour days, a lot of the days, 6 days a week. It was a very grueling and long process. It was wonderful, but it was a lot of work to get this book to you. After doing that, Tom Doherty came to me and said, I just realized we don't have a Brandon Sanderson solo book for 2010. And I said, surprise, Tom, I just spent 16 months working on this Wheel of Time book. I don't have anything. And he said, well, I would really like one. See what you can do. He very nicely said that. He's a very, very nice man. But it got me thinking about the Way of Kings. And I thought, wow, I wonder if I can do this book now. And so this summer, I actually, I needed a break from the Wheel of Time, and I spent 4 or 5 months-ish rewriting the Way of Kings. And it turned out really well this time. And I think it's because, well, I know it's because working on the Wheel of Time forced me to grow as an author in ways that that I hadn't been forced to before. And so actually, they're going to be releasing that book next August or September. And it's the beginning of my big epic. So, and Tom Doherty told me I could not tell people how long it would be because they got into so much trouble with Robert Jordan telling people how long the series would be. And there's a great story there. You guys want to hear the story? Yeah. You've heard all the rumors online. I can give you, now it's third hand for you guys, but this is from Tom Doherty told me specifically. He said, Robert Jordan came into me, and when he pitched this series, he said, I've got a really great trilogy. I want to tell you that. And he said, Jim, Robert Jordan, his real name is Jim Rigney. Jim told me about this series, and this first book, he pitched it to me, it was really awesome. It ended with this guy taking the sword from the stone, except the sword wasn't a sword and the stone wasn't a stone. And it was this really great dramatic conclusion to the first book. And Tom Doherty said, now, I'd worked with Jim on previous books, and I knew a little bit about how he worked. And I said, Jim, I'm going to sign you to 6 books. And Jim said, oh, I don't need 6 books. This is a trilogy, Tom. And Tom said, well, if you do it in a trilogy, then you can use the books for something else. But I'd just like to know that we've got the contracts in place just in case. And Tom Doherty looked at me and he said, Brandon, I thought I was being really smart. I thought by giving him double the length that he thought he needed, I would have it covered for sure. Now we're on the 12th book. And Tom Doherty actually, at one of the signings we did, got up and he said, I think it's particularly fitting that a book that began as a series that began as a trilogy ends with a single book that is a trilogy. Anyway, there's from the horse's mouth what exactly happened, why the Wheel of Time. You'll sometimes see it online that people say, oh, he pitched it as a trilogy, or he pitched it as 6 books. It was a trilogy signed for 6 books. So, there you go. All right, we probably have time for like 1 or 2 more questions. So we'll go right over here.
Okay, this is a question about the book. Luz Theron.
Now, don't give spoilers. Don't give spoilers.
No, I thought, like, I've been thinking about how to word this.
All right.
Are they the same person?
Are Luz Theron and Randall Thor the same person?
Or are they different?
Robert Jordan was very careful not to answer this specifically. He did say, correct me if I'm wrong, at one interview he said that they are one soul. But he did not want to make it clear whether Rand was just simply going insane, or whether he was actually hearing a voice, or if Luz Theron, when he was alive, during his time, if he would have been hearing Rand. Robert Jordan did not make that explicit, and so I don't either. So all I'll say is I'll repeat what Robert Jordan said, which is there is one soul there. All right, last question right here.